This is the DJI Flip, and the big question is, does it flip?
What the flip?
The answer is no. But it is designed to get really cool shots for people who don't have a lot of experience flying a drone. Stay tuned and we'll show you what we mean.
So this will be my first flight with the Flip. Huh. It's not loud, but it's very buzzy sounding. It's pretty windy. It is moving extremely slow, but I think that might be the wind. Let me try going left and I'll bet it'll go faster. Yeah, that's picking up some speed going that way. Strong wind warning. Okay, so we'll do a hyperlapse. I always like a good hyperlapse with a new drone. It's like part of the way I break it in, I guess. Chris likes to just fly it into a tree or something, but I like to start with a hyperlapse before I fly it into a tree.
Well, I did end up actually flying into a couple of trees, but no trees were hurt in the filming of this video. I do want to talk to you about the Flip though. We've been flying it a lot more since that initial clip, and there's lots of things we've learned about it. First of all, the Flip is really designed for vloggers and first-time drone flyers. It is very beginner friendly because it's under 250 grams, doesn't require registration, and can be flown without a controller. As a matter of fact, you can fly it a lot of different ways. You can fly it just hand launching it by pushing a button and doing the different preset modes that it has. You can fly it using the RC2, which I really like with the screen on it. You can fly it by using your phone, and you can also fly it with the RC-N3. So lots of versatility, pretty easy to use, and great for beginners and vloggers who just want to use a drone in their vlogs. So in addition to being lightweight at under 250 grams, it also folds up, which is pretty unique for this type of drone. The Mavic series is folded for a long time, but the Flip folds a little differently and makes for a very small, compact package that you can put right into your bag and very easy to carry with you. And because it has the prop guards, you don't have the issue with the props getting stuck when you pull it in and out of the bag, and they're very well protected. So because it's designed for vloggers and one-person production teams, meaning a single solo creator, it is very easy to use on your own. It's got a lot of AI built into it, and it can track you as you walk along in several different modes. The AI tracking is pretty good, and it's designed to kind of be a camera person for you if you don't have a camera person available. It also has the ability for you to use your phone or a DJI mic to record audio, and it removes the noise of the drone from the audio, which gives you pretty decent quality audio if, again, you're shooting by yourself and you want to get good audio as you're talking while the drone is flying near you. We tested that in a few different scenarios, and we'll talk about the details a little bit later because we did face some challenges with the audio. So one big thing about the Flip is the camera. It is a 1/1.3 inch CMOS sensor. I've always been impressed by the Mini 4 Pro's camera. Well, this one has a very similar camera in it and takes very good imagery. As a matter of fact, it's a pretty fast lens at a 1.7 aperture, so you do get some nice blurring of the background once it's locked onto the subject and focused on a subject. You'll see the background will blur out a little bit, and it makes the footage look just a little bit more compelling and interesting. So the Flip does do 4K 60, which the Neo didn't do, so it's a bit of an improvement on the camera. However, we found in our testing that if you're using one of the automatic flight modes like Quick Shots, or it's tracking you, it actually will only do 4K 30. Not sure if they're gonna fix that in software later, but as of this recording, we were only able to get it to 4K 30 using automated flight modes, but we could do 4K 60 if we were flying it manually. And if you want to do slow motion, it can do 4K at 100 frames per second, which is about 3.5x slow motion if you're looking at 30 frames per second as your standard. And that's really cool. It looks great if you're getting something that's got a lot of action in it. Slow motion really makes it come to life. I mentioned earlier that you don't have to have a controller to fly it. You can take it off straight out of your hand. Well, this is also one of those drones, kind of like the Neo, that if you put your hand under it, it will automatically land on your hand, even without a controller. And that's kind of nice if you're flying without a controller or you're trying to do selfie kind of stuff and you don't want to have things in your hand. You can literally take it off and make it land in your hand just by putting your hand underneath it. Of course, it shoots horizontal video in 4K, but it can also shoot vertical video by cropping in a little bit, which is great if you're a social media creator. It does lose some pixels when you do it that way, but it will shoot vertical video right out of the gate just by pushing a button. So it has the standard gimbal guard that goes on the front of it, but it's a little bit different than gimbal guards we've put on and taken off before. So you have to kind of get used to how it goes on and off. It's just a matter of sliding it straight on and off without any pinching of the bottom or anything. Once you're used to it, I actually like it better, but just be aware if you've owned a DJI drone before with the gimbal guard, this one comes on and off a little bit differently, so you might struggle at first until you get used to it. One thing that I do really like about it is this little infrared sensor on the front, because it's also a screen. This front infrared sensor is called the 3D Infrared Sensing System, and it's what you use for obstacle avoidance. How well it works is open for discussion, but it does have these cool little icons in it that if you're flying it from your hand and you're just hand launching it, you can see exactly what mode you're in when you take off, and that's pretty cool. So to test the DJI infrared sensing system, we took it out in some trees to see how it would do against the trees with me walking through them.
You can see here on the screen, it has obstacle avoidance action, brake and off. There's not a bypass option. So you could turn obstacle avoidance off and then it might crash into something, or brake is just gonna stop. So let's go ahead and start it up, and we will draw a square around me, and I'll hit active track and I'll just start walking. There's a lot of trees. Wow. All right, it's picked me back up now. It did stop though on its own. I didn't do anything. Right here are some pretty small branches. Oh, and there's a pretty small branch it's right next to. Will it see these small branches? It seems to have spotted them and stopped. Oh. Stop. Stop. Whoa. So, it looks like it's okay. All right, go ahead and just take off one more time. It's gonna fly it manually. Okay, it didn't want to go through there, but I forced it to. Stops really close to it, yeah.
Yeah, like a foot away.
Yeah, about an arm's length still. It does see the big stuff like me or a big tree, but when it comes to the smaller stuff, it can very well get tangled up.
So just like any new drone, this one's got some quirks, and I want to talk about them now. First of all, what's up with this little silicone thing that goes over the gimbal? It's kind of a weird little thing. In addition to the gimbal guard, not sure if you're supposed to keep it on there after your first flight, you take it off for your first flight, or if it's something you throw away. We've been trying to keep it on ours, but it's a little bit difficult to get on and off, and so that's kind of a strange thing. Secondly, the people who designed the buttons so that you could hand launch it, designed them to be very easy to push.
Circle. 2
No.
meters.
No.
Circle. 3. 2. Unable to take off.
That button is not in a good place. It feels like the buttons should be easy to push and not difficult to find, but not in a place where you're gonna accidentally push them over and over again. But just be aware you might accidentally change your mode because of where the button is.
Now, if you hold the button down, it'll start to take off. But if you decide you don't want it to take off because it's gonna hit something or you're inside, I'll do that.
4 meters.
You can cancel it by
3.
pressing the button again. That'll cancel it. Or
4 meters.
you can also cancel it by
3.
tipping the drone.
Unable to take off.
And as I mentioned earlier, it doesn't seem to do 4K 60 while it's tracking you, which I find a little bit strange because this is supposed to be a vlogging and solo creator drone. And so tracking you in 4K 60 seems like it should be something it could just do right out of the box. That might be a software update, but as of now, it will only do 4K 30 when you've got it tracking you and flying itself, basically. And also the folding, that's a little bit weird. It's cool because it folds down really nice and compact, and it definitely kind of protects the drone when you put it in your bag and stuff. But the whole idea that it comes on when you unfold it, there have been many times I've unfolded it and I didn't have the gimbal guard or the silicone off of it, and so the gimbal starts trying to move and calibrate because it comes on, that's what it does. I just wish that you could unfold it and then push a button to turn it on, or that you could turn that option on and off in the app. So in the consumer drone market, DJI has really leaned into these very lightweight, as a matter of fact, under 250 gram drones that are easy to fly and very safe. And the Flip is very easy to fly and very safe. However, because it has the prop guards around the props, which give it extra surface area, and because it is so lightweight, it is very susceptible to wind. So please be aware if you're flying it in a lot of wind, it's probably going to struggle a little bit. And I had a couple of times when I took it up a little bit higher, maybe 100, 200 feet, and went downwind, and then it kind of struggled to get back. So be aware of that if you're flying it in wind, that it could end up being kind of unsteady, or there's a possibility that if you fly it downwind, you might not be able to get it back to you. So always fly upwind first. That's a good rule of thumb. One other weird thing that the Flip does that I've never noticed before is that in the quick shot modes like droney or rocket, it will film the part that it does while it's going away from you, like a droney, and then it will stop the file, the recording file, and then it'll start it again when it comes back down to you. So you end up with two recordings, one of it going away and one going back. I believe in older DJI drones, it would only do the main action, which would be to fly away from you or to fly straight up, like in a rocket mode, but it wouldn't do the coming back down. I like that they've added that feature of it filming both the up and the down, but I wish it was just one file where it went all the way up, paused, and then came back down, and you just got one video file out of it. It's just kind of a weird little thing that happens in the software. And then let's talk about the audio that you can record using the drone and the Fly app. The audio quality is actually pretty decent, especially if you use the DJI mic paired with your phone.
And so if you were shooting something where you wanted to show off something that was around you and you wanted to narrate at the same time, you could use the microphone to do that.
And it also removes the noise of the drone pretty efficiently and keeps your voice in, which is great. However, we had some problems with it. First of all, not starting the audio until a second or two after the video had started, which caused some of our takes to not work.
The DJI mic, and what it's doing is it's not only following me, but it's also picking up my audio as I walk along.
It also seems to have a different length of file because it has a separate audio file from the video file. So you'll find if you line those up in an editor that they're slightly different lengths, which is a little bit weird. We were trying to do a lot with it by screen recording on the phone at the same time that we were recording the audio. So maybe that was part of the problem. But in our experience, while the audio quality is good, the consistency of when it records the audio was a little bit strange and also a little bit difficult because it made some of our takes not usable. So while that idea of it recording audio is a good idea, I don't recommend using it as your primary audio source. I'd probably just go ahead and either record internally in the DJI mic or have a separate camera with audio connected to it so you'll make sure you always get good audio. So what is it that we like about the DJI Flip? Well, it is a great entry-level beginner drone for vloggers and for solo creators. It really is safe because of the prop guards, because it's under 250 grams, and because it's lightweight. It's pretty unobtrusive. It's not something that's gonna direct a lot of attention to you if you're flying it. It kind of looks like a toy, but it has great picture quality. It is not a toy when it comes to being a camera. And with that f-stop of 1.7 on the lens, it looks really great. It makes your videos look very cinematic, and if you're shooting images of yourself using the selfie modes or the quick shots, it really looks cool when you're doing those because of that faster lens. So when it comes down to it, if you're looking for a drone that is really versatile and something that you can use by yourself without anybody's assistance and has the versatility of flying it different ways, recording audio, tracking you, and being able to do quick shots, hand launch and landing, the DJI Flip is a pretty good option. Something to consider because it's really designed for vloggers and solo creators, and you can do everything in vertical or horizontal video. And if you look at the cost of the DJI Flip compared to other drones that we've reviewed, you'll see that it's a pretty good deal in terms of what you get, especially the camera quality for the cost. So if price is a factor for you, take a look at the Flip and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Because it is designed to be lower cost, easier to use, and more versatile, it doesn't have the entire feature set that some of those higher end drones have. But if you already own a DJI drone, especially a recent one like the Mini 4 Pro or the Air 3S or the Avata 2, the Flip is going to be a little bit of a step backwards for you because it really is designed to be less expensive with less features and easier to fly and not have all the functions that those other high-end drones have. The Flip is going to be great for new drone pilots who have never flown before but want to add a drone to their vlogs or their social media content. So that's the DJI Flip. We really appreciate you watching, and we'd love to hear what you think, especially if you have questions about the Flip. We're happy to answer them. Leave them in the comments below, and thanks for watching Ready, Set, Drone.
What the flip? What the flip?